The judge smirked as he fined the black man without even looking at the evidence. But his smile disappeared the moment he saw the man's business card, revealing he was a federal prosecutor. Asterisk, he wasn't expecting to be stopped that morning. David M. King was simply on his way to see his elderly mother, a routine Sunday visit he never missed. The sun was rising, the streets were quiet, and gospel music was playing softly in the background. Dressed neatly in a gray suit and glasses, he looked like any other professional heading somewhere peaceful. But for some people, the color of his skin was louder than his tie and more suspicious than any broken law. When the red and blue lights flashed in his rearview mirror, David pulled over calmly. He had nothing to hide. He had committed no crime. His taillights were working. He signaled properly. He wasn't even speeding. But still, the officer walked toward his car like he was approaching a threat. Without even saying hello, the officer barked, "License and registration." David handed them over, politely. "You were driving slow and suspicious," the officer said, peering into the back seat. "I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle." David blinked. "Excuse me, officer? May I ask why? Are you resisting?" "No, sir. I just step out. Now." So David stepped out. He was searched, treated like a criminal. The officer wrote him up for a broken taillight, resisting questioning, and suspicious driving, all false charges. Then the officer handed him a yellow slip, $500 fine, plus a court date. David didn't argue. He knew better than to push a situation like this. The truth would speak in court, he told himself. Evidence wins. Character wins. Justice wins, right? But what he didn't expect was that the courtroom itself would try to bury the truth. The court date came. David arrived, early, dressed once again in his best, navy suit, leather shoes, briefcase in hand. The waiting room was full of loud conversation, but he sat silently, calm, patient. Case after case was called before him. And finally, the clerk announced, David King. He stood up and approached the bench. The judge barely looked up. A stern-faced man with slick gray hair and sharp glasses, Judge Alan Harrow had a reputation. Polite, but dismissive. Polished, but never warm. Known for being especially tough on minorities, though no one dared to say it outright. David stood tall. Judge. Harrow flipped through the paperwork. Taillight, resisting, reckless behavior. Humph. Then he looked at David for the first time. His expression said it all. Not what happened. Or let me hear your side. No curiosity. No fairness. Just assumption. You people really don't learn, do you? The judge muttered, quietly, but not quietly enough. David kept his composure. Do you plead guilty? The judge asked flatly. No, Your Honor, David answered respectfully. I have dashcam footage and a receipt from the mechanic proving the taillight was repaired 2 months ago. I also have footage can be manipulated, the judge cut in. I've seen it before. David tried to speak again. Sir, if I may, I've heard enough, the judge interrupted, slamming his gavel down. Fine stands, $500. Case closed. The courtroom paused. The silence was louder than the gavel. David didn't move right away. He simply opened his briefcase, pulled out a clean business card, and placed it on the edge of the bench. May I ask the court clerk to read that out loud, please? The clerk picked up the card and read slowly. David M. King, Senior Federal Prosecutor, United States Department of Justice. The judge froze. His face turned pale. David looked up, his eyes now sharper than ever. You made a judgment based on what you saw, or what you thought you saw. You didn't ask for the truth. You dismissed evidence. You mocked me. You violated your duty. Judge. Harrow's lips parted, but no words came. I wasn't going to mention my position, David continued, because I wanted to be treated like any other citizen. Not better, just fairly. But you never gave me that chance. The judge attempted to respond. Mr. King, if I had known. That's exactly the point, David interrupted. You shouldn't have to know someone's title to treat them with basic respect. A court officer tried to step in, but David raised his hand calmly. I'll be filing a formal complaint with the Judicial Review Board, along with the court transcript and dashcam footage. This is no longer about a traffic fine. This is about a system that punishes people not for what they've done, but for how they look. Then he turned and walked away, shouting. No threats, just dignity. In the following weeks, An investigation into Judge Harrow's rulings revealed a troubling pattern. Disproportionate penalties for Black and Latino defendants. Repeated rejection of evidence. A long trail of silent injustice finally exposed. Because one man decided to stand his ground, the officer who pulled David over was reassigned and ordered to attend multiple racial bias training programs. And Judge Harrow? Suspended. Pending further review. As for David, he returned to his regular duties in Washington. He continued to work long hours, build cases, and seek justice for people who would never know his name. In an interview later, when asked why he didn't use his title immediately to avoid the situation, he simply said, "Because the real test isn't how you treat powerful people. It's how you treat those you think are powerless." He never asked for fame, never boasted about the outcome. He only said this: "I didn't speak because I'm important. I spoke because too many people can't." And sometimes, just one voice in the right place can shake a courtroom built on silence.